live. Welcome back to the show. Ladies and gentlemen, I am your host, Blake Ruffino. This is Are You Serious Sports? We hope that you are making it a good one. We know that we are as well. I hope that all of you are having a great holiday season. A happy Merry Christmas, Kwanzaa, just all around happy holidays. But this is Are You Serious Sports? This is the LSU postgame show. LSU Tigers beat the Nicholls State Colonels 86-80. We will touch on that basketball game a little bit to start off the show. Also, you can do the hashtag Ask Blake as the LSU football coaching search continues. What are we hearing the day after Christmas? There has been some rumors. I know that they're going to come up in the comments today about those rumors, Graham Harrell, Marcus Freeman, and others. So I will put the comment right here. If you do have a comment for me, just hit us with the hashtag Ask Blake, and I will get to them on the show. We'll bring the comment up, and we will discuss them further. Also, you can call into the show at 225-435-9387. That's 225-435-9387, and we will get to all of your comments or calls as quickly as we can. But before we get started, guys, this is the first real Saturday that's not just a blatant postgame show. This is the first Saturday that we're not doing the show with the LSU football postgame show, but we will talk about. Let's get to a couple of the comments before we get to some of our good sponsors. Kirk Paul, what's up, Kirk? He says defense and free throws towards the end of the game were really bad. Yeah, look, if you look at the box score, and we'll talk about this, I mean, without Trendon Watford, you're probably going to get your ass beat. I know that Cam Thomas went 10 of 21 and had 29 points, but really and truthfully, Watford was doing all the dirty stuff, getting some rebounds, getting some clutch rebounds, really, really clutch rebounds, coming down with 9 of them, 6 assists. He did have a couple turnovers, but did have some blocks and steals as well. So it was a great, just a great overall game, I think, for a couple of your upperclassmen. Javonte Smart, a lot of people are going to talk about him as well. He was not able to go because of some contact tracing, but it looks like he'll be back for the next game for the Tigers. Okay, everybody that's joining the show, do us a favor, hit the like and hit the share. Share into some groups on Facebook. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us on YouTube and Twitter as well. Okay, before we get to a couple of these questions on the hashtag Ask Blake, you got to go see our good friends over at GM Varnado & Sons. GM Varnado & Sons has faithfully been serving your Denham Springs and Baton Rouge area for over 62 years. With their highly trained technicians, there's absolutely nothing that they can't do. RV repair, big rig overhauls, motorhome chassis, truck repair, routine maintenance, tire repair, tire rotations, tire sales. No job is too big or too small over at GM. Give them a call today at 22. Well, not today because it is Saturday and they're closed on Saturdays, but give them a call Monday at 225-664-9992. That's 225-664-9992, and tell them Blake Ruffino sent you by. And for the number one real estate firm in all of North Shore, Louisiana, go to team.kw.com. That's team.kw.com. And I know that they will be able to assist you in any real estate need. If you're looking to sell the home that you have now or looking to buy a new home in the state of Louisiana, I know that they will be able to assist you. Call for one of their great real estate agents today at 985-467-7355. That's 985-467-7355. And tell them Blake Ruffino over at AYS sent you by. Sam Bacon, the Baconator, he says, is the Young Bucks' turn? Ask Blake, is it the Young Bucks' turn? Don't know what you mean, Sam. Not sure what you mean by that question. Young Bucks in reference to who? Ryan Mayer says, ask Blake, I'm still concerned with Breeze. He still seems like he's having trouble with those ribs. Well, of course he is. He had a collapse along in 11 broken ribs. I mean, I'd be shocked if he wasn't playing a little bit scared at times. You know, I mean, come on. I mean, he's in there. He had a bulletproof vest on, but still. Charlie Viator says, ask Blake, any truth, here's the rumor, to the OC from USC coming? That would be Graham Harrell. I don't like discrediting people, and I'm not going to do that. What I will say is that there are some rumors flying around Tiger droppings and a little bit around Twitter that they had a formal interview with Graham Harrell yesterday on Christmas. I cannot confirm that or deny it, really. I mean, I can almost deny it. let's read between the lines of what I'm telling you. Do I think that Graham Harrell is on the board for LSU for the OC job? Absolutely. He better be. But these falseless claims sometimes in reference to saying that a guy's out there and you've interviewed him on Christmas when he's got his family is a bit outlandish. Okay, so for a formal interview, I'm not going to say that they did a formal interview because they didn't. But what I will say is they're going to be vetting guys here and there, and they're going to continue to vet guys, right? Like, so let's not act like that they're not going to do their due diligence. So in reference to what you're asking, Charlie, is Graham Harrell going to be the next offensive coordinator for USC? I have not heard that vividly or candidly from any source telling me that he is 100% going to be the OC. I would assume that Jeff Grimes will be in it, and others, Russ Callaway, likely might get a promotion. A lot of people are talking about George Munoz, but I'm not so sure about George Munoz coming back to Baton Rouge. There was let me just take it like this. Everybody calling for George Munoz. Let's just break it down like this. George Munoz was at LSU, and I get what what George Munoz meant to Joe Burrow. I'm not discrediting that. But he leaves LSU, and Orgeron doesn't fight for him to stay. He then goes over to Baylor. Him and Larry Fedora are fired at Baylor because of the simple fact that Dave Aranda, who is probably one of the most controversial human beings on the face of the planet, says the man's toxic and both of you are out. So you mean to tell me in the last two stops, the very last two stops, I forgot to flip my camera. Hold on. Boop. There we go. The very last two stops. See, I was backwards. I forget to flip the camera. So stupid of me. But I don't think that – I think it's interesting that everybody is talking about this situation with George Munoz because of the simple fact, man, he's been really kind of let go and not retained in the last two positions that he's at. And he wasn't even an on-field coach. He was an analyst last season. So everybody joining the show, you can do a favor and hit us with the Ask Blake. Yes, the Louisiana or ULL game is going to be on in about 15 minutes. So we won't be going too long. Kirk says, you on your wrong side, Blake. LOL. I was see what y'all see is the normal version right here, right? But when I see it, it looks normal to me. So it has to be backwards for me. But it's okay. And Russ We Trust says Sam Bacon. Yeah, I saw some people have been running. I'm going to leave that one alone. But there are some people that put some false claims out on Tiger droppings to see who would run with it, and a couple of people ran with it. So just leave it as it is. Bundy says, what do you say about Marcus Freeman? I would say on Christmas Eve, Marcus Freeman appeared, and even on the 23rd, appeared to be completely out. What I can tell you, I'm not going to say that he's going to be the next defensive coordinator at LSU. Let me make this very clear. But we remember when Bo Pelini turned the job down from Ed Orgeron and LSU a season ago. Like we remember that, right? And then LSU went back to him. You really think they're not going to go do that? I think that they are. A lot of people are saying that he's out, and I get it, and I trust their reporting. But I'm also going to tell you that sources have told me at AYS that Marcus Freeman is not completely out. If there is going to be a guy that might be and likely would be completely out, would be Ryan Nelson, the defensive line coach for the New Orleans Saints. But again, I think Ed would want him to. Oh, the game is on now, says Mark. Mark, I thought the game came on at 3:30. Damn, I guess I was wrong. See, I guess I was wrong. They on now. Yeah, that's my fault, y'all. Let's see. I get so focused on breaking down LSU and watching LSU stuff that even for football sometimes it goes by the wayside. But I will be watching that. I will be watching that. Brian asks, Kevin Steele. No, I think that Ed has a really good connection with Kevin Steele. But my take has been this entire time, Brian, is, look, a lot of people want Will Muschamp. Why I don't get that. You want Kevin Steele. So you want two candidates that have been former defensive coordinators at LSU to come back in here. We just saw that with Bo Pelini. Okay, I get that a lot of people are talking about Will Muschamp, but the last time he was a defensive coordinator was at Auburn, and their defense was like ranked 102nd or 103rd in the country. TJ Finley, in his first ever start this past season, put up 52 points against that team. And don't act like that's not Will Muschamp's defenses. Now, Kevin Steele's really interesting, but there's also a lot of people speculating that Kevin Steele was working behind the scenes, Brian, to get Gus Malzahn fired so that he can be promoted to the head coach at Auburn. So, no, I don't really want toxicity with everything that's going on with LSU in 2020. And I don't have to tell all of you the rumors of what's happened with LSU and the toxicity at times inside that locker room. Like, I don't have to tell you that. Oh, okay. My wife made it to the beach. Okay. My wife and son are at the beach, and she just sent me a text saying that they made it. Awesome. Absolutely amazing. So that's what I'm going to say in reference to Kevin Steele. Do I think he's a great defensive coordinator? Absolutely. Absolutely. Look what he did to the 2019 Tigers, 23-20. Look, a lot of people are going to say, oh, it was a sloppy field. Oh, the weather was bad. I don't give two Rudy Poos. When it came down to crunch time in the red zone, that LSU offense, I don't want people to tell me that they were looking forward. That Auburn team was still a top 15 ranked team that they were looking forward to Alabama. Stop that. Kevin Steele's a damn good defensive coordinator. But Derek Mason, as Wade said this, and we kind of reported this, that they had been in contact. If you didn't see the report after the show, go look on AYS Network. As we confirmed the report that Derek Mason and LSU have been in contact with one another for the opening for the defensive coordinator spot. A lot of people say, well, Derek Mason runs a 3-4. He does not. Go pop in that 2019 film, LSU versus Vandy. He runs a very, very multiple defense. And Ed Orgeron credited for their defense, credited their defensive line play, and they did have good defensive line play. They just don't have the athletes that LSU does. They just don't. There might be a handful of teams. Literally, you can count them on your fingers, the handful of teams that have the talent that LSU does. Bo Davis, says Marvin Mackey. Yeah, Bo Davis' name continues to come up in this defensive line position. Going to be the next defensive line coach at LSU. That name continues to come up. And look, that defensive line for Detroit. Sorry, guys. I'm texting my wife. Awesome. Love you. Her and my son and her sisters and their kids went to Orange Beach for the weekend. We'll be coming back Wednesday. So I'm a bachelor, y'all. I'm a married bachelor. Okay. So all you ladies who want a piece of this caramel goodness over here, bad back. Okay. Just bad back. But they went to the beach. So I was going to tell her I love her. I saw your comment right here, Blaine. You said Freeman as DC, Davis defensive line coach is a complete home run for the defense. Well, look, Marcus Freeman is definitely the hottest name on the market right now. Okay, the thing that would concern me is does his philosophy and what and the recruits that they have brought in, would that mesh well? Because he runs a 3-3-5 system. Okay, would it mesh well? I don't know that. I don't know if he'd be able to conform what LSU would want to do. That's the biggest question on all this. Zachary Burrows, hey, you got an S at the end. But Zachary, how about this? How about you drop the S and say that you and Joe are first cousins? I would absolutely do that, Zachary. Absolutely. Zachary says, do you think they might try to stick with the 4-3 next season after losing Bo or swap back to the 3-4? No, they're not going to swap back to the 3-4. Go look at the recruiting. I mean, they're bringing in 5 defensive linemen. And 4-3 defense, or I say 4-3, but guys, they only ran a 4-3 17% of the time in 2020. 16% of that came against Vanderbilt, who runs a very pro-style offense. They were never in a traditional 4-3 and besides that Vandy game where they had 3 linebackers on the field, it was more of the 4-2-5. So I do not believe that Ed Orgeron in recruiting recruiting is showing that. That's not me saying that, right? Like I could just look and see what Ed Orgeron wants to do in recruiting rankings. I mean, you bring in 5 studs on the defensive line, you go get a prototypical defensive tackle that can play the 3 technique and just get upfield, and him and Jaquelin Roy. No, there's no way in blue hell that Ed Orgeron is going to go back to a 3-4 and you take Mason Smith and or Jaquelin Roy off the field. That's not going to happen. Not what he's doing now. I just can't see it. So I think, I don't even really think at this point. Look at the candidates that have come to the fold. Derek Mason being the first one that they know that we know and can confirm. I mean, everybody's going out there, hey, I can confirm that they interviewed Graham Harrell. Bullshit. No, you can't. I promise you that you're not confirming that right now. Bullshit. Especially the person running it. You're not confirming anything. So, no, I would like, if it were me, I would like a defensive coordinator that could come in and run a multiple defenses from start to finish. Look, it doesn't matter what you're going to do. Kevin Steele was one of them. He went to a 3-2-7, right? Yeah, 3-2-7. No, a 3-2-6. Yeah, because he had 6 DBs. Yeah, because that would be 11, right? He went to a 3-2-6 against LSU, and their 4-man line front. Okay, you can't hit us with the Ask Blake. I'm going to put it back in here in the comments because if you have a question for us, we will get to it. Just hit us with the Ask Blake. It helps me with the comments moving forward. Zachary Burrows says, I was thinking that as well about keeping the D at a 4-3 considering they'll be very deep at defensive line next year. Yeah, and they're going to be continue to be very deep at defensive line. That's going to be Ed's MO. They got to go get some offensive linemen, but the defensive line is going to be nasty. Absolutely sick. So you got to understand, I don't think everybody wants them. Let me ask anybody in here, why you want them to go back to the 3-4? Because Clemson's not going to go to the 3-4 or 3-4 principles against Alabama. They're not going to do that. We already know what they're going to do. So you have defenses like a Kevin Steele, like a Brent Venables, and Brent Venables is probably the best defensive coordinator in the country, and he's running a 4-2-5. Sometimes he'll mix in some multiple stuff, but he's always bringing in pressure, always having four linemen that an offensive line, at least as me as a former center, would consider 4 down linemen that are going to be across the board that you have to account for. He did it against LSU. Everybody said he ran a 3-4. No, he didn't. Yes, he did have a guy, quote unquote, standing up, but that guy was always, more than likely, and most times if you go watch their film, he always had his hand in the dirt, and this time he was standing up, he would go in the flat, and that's what he would cover. So I don't like that everyone continues to ask to go back to the 3-4. It doesn't really matter. If you have the defensive lineman that Ed Orgeron's bringing in, Savion Jones, Mason Smith, Landon Jackson, I mean, there's others. So if you're going to bring that in, hell no. You got to keep your best players on the field, and you got to add depth. And with Jaquelin Roy here, Neil Farrell, looks like Neil Farrell's coming back, the senior defensive tackle. Maybe you can get an Andre Anthony to come back for one more year. Ali Gay looks like he's going to turn it. And look, we haven't even mentioned this because it happened it happened on Christmas Eve, but center Liam Shanahan said he's coming back. That's huge, guys. That's huge, literally and figuratively. And you got to give Liam Shanahan, if you haven't seen it, go to his Twitter. It was from the Wolf of Wall Street when he goes, "I'm not freaking leaving." It's pretty funny. I'll give him that one. It's really freaking funny. Aaron Adams Jr. What's up, Aaron? Hope you're having a good holidays, man. He said, I'm excited about the 4-3. I'm excited about what they're bringing in. The guy that holds the record for the most receiving yards in the SEC game is Kayshon Boutte, a freshman. The quarterback that was with him that threw him the ball and targeted him 25 plus times, a freshman. Shoot. Guys, it's been a long holiday season. It's been a long, long holiday season. So my mind's a little fuzzled right now. See, I didn't prepare for this one. I didn't prepare for the show, and I guess you guys can tell. But you have Eli Ricks that was out there. Harold's mentioned, yeah, you have a lot of true freshmen that are out there. A lot of true freshmen that are out there. So, yeah, they're bringing in the talent, that's for sure. W. Mo says, with these new defensive line coming in, the linebackers should be better. Yeah, and they're bringing in a lot. I really, really, really like Navantique Strong, the JUCO linebacker, the number one JUCO linebacker in the country is coming in. Every time I watch this guy play football, I'm in love with the things that he does on the field. This guy can cover, he can hit, he can stop the run. He honestly reminds me, and I know I'm putting a lot on this kid. I know that I am, and I get it. He reminds me of a shorter Devin White. Go watch that kid play. I don't know. You can't keep that kid off you're not going to be able to keep that kid off the field. If anything from his JUCO tape translates into what he's going to do at LSU, goodness gracious, man. Bro, I'm telling you, I love that. That might be the biggest steal in this recruiting class outside of Jack Besh from St. Thomas More. That's easily, in my opinion, the biggest steal, without a question. Let's see. Harold says 100%, 100% LSU personnel calling for a 4-3. Absolutely. Absolutely. Jamie Hodges, what's up? Jamie says, ask Blake, what about Georgia's co-OC or Pete Golding from Bama? Unless Pete Golding's getting fired, I know that he's a Louisiana guy, but he's a 3-4 guy too. Look, he was at my alma mater, and he was actually the defensive coordinator after I left from football there. I don't think Pete Golding is going to, unless he gets fired, but I don't see Ed Orgeron going to get Pete Golding if he's fired at Alabama. There's just no way. No way. Georgia's co-DC, I don't know about that. I mean, his name hasn't popped up. The name that continues to pop up and that you're going to see is the Kentucky defensive coordinator. I forgot his name. Let me pull it up right here. Brad White. Brad White, who is Kentucky's defensive coordinator, his name's going to pop up. I hear that they're hard after him right now. So it's going to be interesting to see how many times his name pops up. Okay, everybody joining the show, do us a favor, hit the like and hit the share. Share into some groups if you're on Facebook. Don't forget to like and subscribe on all of our platforms. You can see it. Well, see, it's backwards. See, Kirk, I told you. So you can like it right here. AYS Network on Facebook, AYS Sports on Twitter, Are You Serious Sports on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe. We're going to be doing some giveaways if you go to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And you don't have to pay. Everyone keeps asking me, Blake, why you keep asking me to subscribe to your YouTube channel? It's free. You don't have to pay for it to subscribe. You just get the notifications when we go live. That's all that is. Lamar Williams says, ask Blake any chance O can talk Cox into coming back. He can definitely talk to him. If I'm Jabril, I don't see. It's a great question. I just can't see Jabril Cox coming back. Not after the last two games that kid had. I can't see him coming back. That's not to say that he's not. That's not to say that he won't or they can't convince him to come back. I just think Lamar at the end of the day, I can't see him coming back because I think that he's going to go make him some big money. I really do. But if you can, oh, shit. If you got Navantique Strong, Jabril Cox, and Micah Baskerville, okay. Okay, but I don't think that he will. And really and truthfully, you can move Jabril Cox. You can let him do a Isaiah Simmons role that was for Clemson a couple of years ago because that kid can cover, man. Against Florida, he was covering receivers. He was covering tight ends. He was covering all these dudes. He's great in coverage. So you can make him more of a hybrid. He's more – honestly, Jabril Cox is a more athletic and more diverse Jacoby Stevens. That's all that he is. And God, he's so good in space. Charlie Viator giving us the update says 10-0 Cajuns. You know what game I'm looking forward to tonight is Coastal Carolina versus Liberty. I'm really looking forward to that game tonight. Kirk says, ask Blake, you think, but I think you're saying you think with Shanahan coming back, does you think he is helping to recruit others to stay? Not only do I think, Kirk, that he's helping others to stay, I also think that he's recruiting Eric Wilson, who is a transfer guard from Harvard, who everybody in the country has offered. Eric Wilson has got an offer from I say offer. It's not like an official offer in the transfer, but he has gotten saying, hey, come to us. Every SEC school from what I'm hearing, has offered Eric Wilson the guard, and he is absolutely nasty. Absolutely nasty. So, yes, I do hope that he can get Ed Ingram to stay, Dare Rosenthal. I think, in my opinion, the two that you're going to have to watch out for will be Ed Ingram and Austin Deculus. If you get one of those two to come back, you're fine. Because Dare Rosenthal, there's no reason whatsoever that Dare Rosenthal should leave. None. He's got to stay on the field. He's kind of like Terrace Marshall. Terrace Marshall played, 8 games? Hey, man, I'm 1,000 yards. You saw what I did with Joe Burrow. I mean, regardless of what you think about him opting out, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, Dare Rosenthal, I'm trying to be as nice as I can here, as very nice as I can. He's just going to have a full season. Kirk says Greg Stevens, offensive coordinator. You're talking about the one at Southeastern, correct? If you're talking about the one at Southeastern, look, I like him a lot. I've talked to him. I mean, I'm an alma mater there, but no, I don't think they'll go there. He's too, I don't want to say too little of a name, but I think he's kind of too little of a name, Kirk. I like him a lot. I like Greg Stevens a lot. I think he's a great guy. I think he's a really solid dude. I also don't think he's going to be the next offensive coordinator at LSU. Actually, I would almost, and you guys know, if it's the first time you're watching the show, I don't like doing absolutes, like saying anything in absolutes. But if there is one thing that on this show so far I would make an absolute, I would make that one. Holden Lee says, I was high on Josh White and Antoine Sampa. I'm surprised they didn't get much playing time. Well, I mean, again, look, we get so enamored. And Holden, this isn't on you. I'm just meaning from a coaching standpoint or from a fan standpoint, we get so enamored with true freshman recruits. And we sit here and say, oh, they should play. They need to play. Well, look, you haven't been at practice. I haven't been at practice in 2020. And I know everybody watching probably hasn't been at practice in 2020. So you don't know what those guys are doing. Ed Orgeron is not going to be the guy. Look, here's a question that I would pose to you, Holden, and everybody else asking this question. Ed Orgeron has played multitudes of freshmen this season. Multitudes. Against Florida, they played 46 freshmen and sophomores. And you really think to tell me that if Josh White and Antoine Sampa were ready, they wouldn't throw them out there? I'm just throwing that out there. Throwing that out there to you. Ed Orgeron, look, he's got some faults, but he's got some things with him too that are great. He don't care if you're a freshman, sophomore. He don't give a Rudy Poo. He's going to throw them out there if they're ready to play. He's going to throw them out there. There's no question about that. Blake McGraw says Coastal -6.5. Give him the money. Man, that's a tough game to pick. The only reason I would go with Liberty, the only reason, is I think that Hugh Freeze has enough experience in big games to coach that I for some reason my gut tells me to take Liberty. But I have no dog in that fight. Absolutely none. No dog whatsoever. Brian says they had him at 34th overall player coming out. He gone. Brian, I'm guessing you're talking about Jabril Cox. If you're talking about Jabril Cox, if he gets that high of a grade, then yes, he's not coming back. There's no way he's coming back. Blaine Smith says he looked terrible this year. Who looked terrible, Blaine? What am I missing? Ingram is more valuable than Deculus. Oh, I see what you're saying. He looked terrible this year. Look, y'all better go pop in that film again. Y'all better go pop in that film on Austin Deculus before y'all saying he was playing Rudy Poo. Austin Deculus was not playing Rudy Poo. He gave up 1 sack all season in the SEC. Austin Deculus did not play Rudy Poo. Austin Deculus at times was moving dudes up and down the field. So no, I don't know. Jonathan Rifkin from Just Recruiting. What's up, Riff? He said, just joined. So sorry if you addressed it. Why would Graham Harrell go to LSU when he wants a head coaching job? It's a great question. Money, SEC, Joe Brady. Basically the only reasons. I mean, I'm sure that USC, well, I'm not sure, but Rifkin, USC has enough money that they can match anything that LSU is going to match him. Maybe perception. I don't know. maybe talent. That would be a couple of things. But his name is coming up, Riff. I'll tell you that. His name's coming up a lot, and a lot of people want him. And let me throw this out here, too. Because a lot of people have talked about this. Blake, I don't want Graham Harrell because I don't want the air raid. Dog, what do you think you ran in 2019? Like, yes, it didn't have the consistent Mike Leach air raid principles, but go look at the stats of Joe Burrow. You threw the ball all over the field. Okay, so stop telling me you don't want the air raid when Joe Burrow is throwing the ball 50 times a game. Miles Brennan throws it for damn near or has 57 dropbacks against Mississippi State. Y'all got to stop with that one, man. There's no – every time someone – as soon as we get off the show, I guarantee you someone's going to tell me, Blake, I don't want the air raid. Because I'm looking at Twitter right now. I mean, I still have 72 messages on Twitter. Let's see. Jimmy says, what about Tony Elliott? I like Tony Elliott a lot, Jimmy, but I don't think that Tony Elliott's going to leave. If he hasn't left now, he's not going to leave. He's not going to start now. I just don't see him leaving. But Jeff Grimes is another. I see a lot of people popping in Jeff Grimes. I get it. Jamie says, but CC blew BYU out. They didn't blow him out. Jamie, they didn't blow him out. I mean, a blowout is getting beat by 25-30. That getting beat by a touchdown is not a blowout. And quite honestly, you had a week, not even a week, 4 days to prepare, and you had to go across the country to go play a team at home. That's a tough thing to ask for a team. A very, very tough thing to ask. So I'm not going to, at the end of the day, I'm not going to put it on Jeff Grimes for what they did. And this whole Zach Wilson, well, he's a first-round quarterback, so Jeff Grimes looks like a genius. Joe Brady, for crying out loud. Joe Brady recruited nobody to LSU. None. The two guys that Joe Brady was going after, and Rakeem Jarrett went to Maryland, and Jermaine Burton went to Georgia. The two guys that he was responsible for did not end up at LSU. He came in, so all the talent was assembled by Ed Orgeron and company. By the way, Jeff Grimes, go look at your entire offensive line from last season. Oh, and who was the guy that went to recruit him? That's right, Jeff Grimes. I mean, just do some simple history here. I'm so sick of hearing that part, though. So sick of hearing that. Oh, well, he's got a first-round quarterback. And your point? I'm sorry I kind of went on a tangent there, but geez and Pete's, man. That one drives me up a wall. Like, legitimately drives me up a wall. Jamie says, ask Blake, is Alston and Ingram coming back? I don't know that. I do not. I would be lying if I told you. They need to. Alston, maybe not so much. Look, you guys know that my take on offensive line play, it's my thing. I played it a lot. Austin Deculus did some good shit. Lamar says, ask Blake, do you see LSU hiring assistants under 40 and more diverse candidates? Yes, I do. Yeah, I do. I don't think they have a choice. Not because someone's forcing them to. That's not what I mean. I don't think that they have a choice because they don't want to be like Les Miles and get left in the Stone Age. It's not what I'm saying. All right, everyone joining the show, do us a favor. Hit the like and hit the share into some groups. Don't forget to subscribe to all of our social media platforms that you can see above. Yeah, I guess you can subscribe to Twitch. I mean, we don't go to Twitch yet. But we will. Let me tell you this. If we can get a PS5 up in this sucker, I might play a little Madden with Joe Burrow and stream that thing. Maybe we'll just go to Twitch for that. Because I want to play. Man, I hadn't played video games in such a damn long time. It's been a century. Garrett says, ask Blake, much chance on Eric Gilbert returning to the team. Also, I have zero proof, but I really feel like Georgia recruits guys that are on rosters during the season. Can you do that? Gilbert being one. Well, first off, no, you can't, but it happens everywhere. It's a great question, Garrett. Very good question. No, you cannot. And number two, I I know that the NCAA came out with this one-time transfer rule where you don't have to sit out, no questions asked. I also have heard from some people in the SEC office that the SEC can come down with it. Hey, you can do it, but you can't transfer in conference, right? So if a guy from LSU wants to go to Georgia, the SEC is more than likely going to shut that down. Very much shut that down. And I don't blame them. Look, I'm all for kids transferring, But even in conference, I don't care about that. If you want to go somewhere else, you want to leave somewhere else, I'm okay with that. The problem with it this year is that you have the one-time transfer rule and things like this with Georgia tampering with Eric Gilbert. Nobody has the cojones to tell you that Georgia was tampering with Eric Gilbert. I will tell you, and I have the cojones to tell you they were tampering. Because they don't want to, whatever. Rifkin says Joey B versus Herbie PS5 showdown. I'm all over that. Rifkin, I'm all over that. I got to go find one, though. I didn't even think about buying one. And then, people were talking about it at Christmas. And I was like, yeah, I'll look into it. Man, I can't find a PS5. I can't find an Xbox Series, whatever it's called. I couldn't find any of them. I need to maybe get some, call Sony something. I don't know. But I couldn't find one. Jamie says, I thought they won by 30. No, it was a touchdown game, Jamie. Yeah, it was a touchdown game. BYU threw an interception. Zach Wilson threw an interception there at the end to seal it. Kurt says, Joe Brady hates recruiting. Yeah, he hated recruiting. He recruited none of those kids to campus. He recruited none of those kids to LSU. And quite honestly, he had the first overall pick as his quarterback. Who, by the way, quite honestly, Joe Brady was not the quarterback's coach. Ensminger was. And Munoz was the on-field, in-game quarterback's coach. So I get what people are saying. Like, I quit what people are saying. Paul says, quit letting the negative peeps get you all worked up, bro. I'm not worked up. It's a persona, Earlier, if you missed it, I said that, my wife is out of town and they're at Orange Beach. And that the ladies, I'm going to have to beat ladies off with a stick because, they love this caramel skin, all this kind of stuff. Let's see. Let's get a couple more here, and we might go watch some ULL play. Ryan said, did you all know that Trey Smith, the offensive line for Tennessee, has not given up a single sack in 1,540 snaps? That's crazy. But he also hasn't played a lot. I know that's a lot of snaps. He's also played as a freshman and gets injured a lot. 55-2 Live. What's up, 55-2 Live? He says, ask Blake, who is your quarterback one next year? That's a good question. Very good question. It looks like it's going to be a battle between the three of them. I'm not, if it's your first time watching the show, I'm not sold on Miles Brennan. I don't know if you don't even need to walk away from him. And I've made the comparison before. Well, hey, we might have beaten, Country. I'm going to do the Country thing. The Country's the guy that comments on the show, but Country says, but Blake, if we would look, if Miles Brennan would have played against Texas A&M, we would have beat the Aggies. We would have run up and down the field against the Aggies. Well, I'm here to tell you, Country, he wasn't there. He hasn't been there. You had one scholarship quarterback in 2018 in Joe Burrow because Miles Brennan again was hurt. He was hurt in 16. He was hurt in 17. He was hurt in 18. He was hurt in 19. And he's hurt again in 20. Or no, 17. He was hurt every year, 17, 18, 19, and 20. So, no, I think you might need to go away from him a little bit. Unless he's head and shoulders better than TJ Finley, which I don't think that he is, and TJ has a higher ceiling, and if he's head and heels above Max Johnson, then yeah. But quite honestly, I'm not sold whatsoever one bit on Miles Brennan. And he might not be able to return, guys. That's what the scary part of all this is. Holden Lee says Eric changed his profile pic on Twitter to some lions. Yeah, he said it was going to be his tattoo. Who would be the Lions? I don't know. Who would be the Lions? I have no idea. I can't think of one. Nittany Lions. Southeastern. Line up, baby. Let's go, Eric Gilbert. Go to Southeastern. You heard me? Line up. Jamie says, okay, well, in that case, I think Liberty has a good chance. Yeah, they have a good chance. They have well more than a good chance. Kirk says, trust me, y'all would know if Blake was worked up. Won't like when he angry. Yeah, he won't. You won't. But look, it's the holidays. It's the holidays. We're doing a lot of good things. A lot of good things. Chris says, I just don't understand why kids want to leave LSU. Don't they know we put more players in the NFL than anybody else? Well, Chris, I like that you're saying that, but it's actually not true. That's statistically not true. Alabama is. So, but I get what you're saying. Like, I get what you're saying there. But sometimes, look, sometimes it just doesn't work out. And if it doesn't work out with Eric Gilbert, it just doesn't work out. Cole Taylor showed some really good things last couple weeks. Lon Phillips. What's up, Lon? Lon says, Blake, my man, who do you want for defensive coordinator if the decision was totally yours? It's a good question. The decision is not mine. So, Lon, I'm going to have to pass that one. And I'm also not in those interviews. So it's a tough question. I like Derek Mason a lot. I think he's a great guy. I like Marcus Freeman. I think he's a good guy. I think that Brad White, the defensive coordinator at Kentucky, whose name's going to be popping up here, Lon. Don't be taking no info now. Lon, don't be taking no info. But his name's going to be popping up. What time we got here? 44:07. Don't be taking no info. But his name's going to be popping up during the week. And I don't, for offensive coordinator, I know that, some people are talking about Graham Harrell. Some sources that we have talked to said that they did not interview him yesterday. Zach says, what about the new freshman, Garrett Nussmeier? Forgive me if I spelled his name wrong. No, you're actually right on. He's a good player. He's hurt. I think he broke his left hand. So we'll see what he does. He was the first recruit to send in his paperwork to LSU too. Ryan Mayer says, did Jabril Cox get an invite for the NFL Combine or Senior Bowl this year? Yes, I believe he did. I know for a fact he got his Senior Bowl invitation. So did Racey McMath. Hey, talking about that, Racey McMath's an interesting name to watch out for. I know I threw it to y'all on Twitter a couple weeks ago about Racey McMath. Let me just say this. I threw it out there, kind of hinted it out there. I'm going to hint it kind of stronger. I wouldn't be surprised if you read from other places and hear from other places that they're going to work hard to get Racey McMath back. Cole Pierce says, hey, bud, hope you and yours had a good Christmas. We sure did. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. It was statistically true until a few years ago. Yeah, it was statistically true, but it's not anymore. I mean, look, they can flip back and forth, but statistically it's not true. So, Zach, just to throw it out there, I'm not going to say, hey, we put more guys in the NFL. If I ever told a recruit that and they could, look, this thing is an interesting tool. Okay? This thing is an interesting tool. People know when you're lying or not. People know when you're lying or not. So when you throw stuff out there, people are going to know when you're telling the truth and what's real and what's fake. Kirk says Bama took that stat last year about NFL players. Yeah, and what's crazy is LSU had tied the record at 14 draft picks. Adam Burrows says I invited Jabril Cox. Actually, yeah, maybe so. Maybe so. Bundy says, how does Bama sign more than 25 every year? Well, they signed 26 last year because the year before they only signed 24. They have a hard cap like everybody else around the SEC. The SEC has a hard cap of 25 unless the season before you only signed 24. So they don't sign more than LSU does, Bundy. Ask Blake, what about Kentucky going 1-6 in basketball? Is Kentucky now a football school? God bless Jesus. I know, huh? Did they get beat by Louisville today? I think they might have gotten beaten by Louisville today. How nuts would that be? Well, if they're because they were 1-5, actually, so you're telling me, yeah, they did get beat today. God. dog. But it seems like they always turn it up during SEC play, though. They always turn it up for SEC play. Mason is a huge motivator, in my opinion, says Zach. If he has the talent from LSU, who knows what he could do? Yeah, I like Derek Mason a lot. I like Darren Mason a whole hell of a lot. Racy needs to come back. Let's hope he does, says Lon. Yeah, he needs to. I hope he does. Where is Ohio in NFL players? They're third behind LSU. Or somebody might need to bean check me on that one. I think they might be second. I think LSU might be third. You know what's crazy? You know what's absolutely nuts is that Ohio State, at one point, I know that Joe Burrow came to LSU, but in last year's class, NFL draft class, Joe Burrow was at Ohio State, Chase Young was at Ohio State, and Jeff Okudah all at Ohio State. The first 3 picks in the NFL draft last year was at one point at Ohio State, and they still haven't won a natty. Everybody wants Urban Meyer until they have the first 3 draft picks and can't win a natty. Hey, I'm just telling you like it is. The first 3 draft picks, y'all, a corner, a defensive end, and a cornerback. God forbid if they would have had a left tackle that would have went in the first round, goodness gracious. That would have mean all 5 positions, the most crucial positions on the field, you would have had in the first round at one point in time on your team, and you couldn't win a natty. Like, look, I'm not trying to beat up on Ohio State here, but man, when I saw that, I freaked out. I'm like, damn, they still ain't got a natty. Billy asked, do you coach? Will you have a go OC? Well, Billy, no, I do not coach. I do a podcast. They called me the Podfather because of my Italian roots and heritage. Do you like Charlie Strong? Yes, I do, but I don't think he'll leave Alabama. Jamar Jackson, who you think would be a good candidate for offensive coordinator for LSU? I think it's going to go like this. I think it's going to go Graham Harrell in no specific order. Graham Harrell, Jeff Grimes, Russ Callaway. I don't think they'll go after George Munoz. And I don't think that Russ Callaway will be I just don't see Russ Callaway given the full job completely. Now, I could be wrong there, but I feel like he'll get a passing game coordinator. DJ Mangus, who is Joe Brady's right-hand man, I think that DJ Mangus is going to get a push here. Those are the guys that I think that they'll target. Okay, a couple more questions and we'll get out of here. Adam Burrows says, did Megan get you a PS5 for Christmas? No, she did not. I also didn't ask for one. But so maybe I should have. I can't find one. I couldn't find an Xbox. The Xbox, I couldn't find the PS5. All were out of stock. Maybe, Adam, I'm going to call you after the show. Maybe we, I know that you like build guilds and all that kind of stuff. So maybe you can help me find one. Okay, a couple more questions. Seth says, do you think we need to go back to an air raid style offense? I also think John Emery will break out. Seth, this is what I think. I think you ran it in 2019. Ed Orgeron confirmed that you only had one offensive rush play, the inside zone. He told you that in a press conference a couple of weeks ago. Do I think you need to? No. Not right now. Not completely. Here's why I'm going to go out with that. Now, Graham Harrell, I know I defended Graham Harrell with that not too long ago. I still think that you have to run the ball in the SEC. You still have to run the ball in the SEC. Look at Alabama. Look at LSU. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I think, 10-game season, I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire was averaging 6.9 yards per carry through 11 games in the SEC. So you have to be able to run the football. There's absolutely no question about that. Hunter says, I just don't see the Derek Mason hire. His defense was good at Stanford, but they had a ground and pound clock draining offense. Hunter, let me make this point here. Who's a defense that's exceptionally great? In this season, name a defense that's exceptionally great. Alabama? Nope. Florida? Nope. Georgia? Nope. Clemson, yeah, they did have one good game where they kept the opponent under 30 points in Notre Dame, but the time before Notre Dame scored 40 on them. Okay, 40. Notre Dame did the same. Guys, I just don't think the defense is the same that we remember growing up. Defenses are not 2011 LSU good. Adam says, get rid of her. No, not a chance. I'm not getting rid of my wife. My beautiful wife right here. Psh, y'all get out of there with that. Ain't no way I'm getting rid of that sweet lady. But you got it. I just don't. I don't see why people get so fed up that you're not stopped. LSU stopped Texas A&M's defense to offense at 13 points, and you wanted Bo Pelini gone. And I get why you wanted him gone. Look, I'm not defending him. So you're not going to have that much more. All right, let's go watch some football, guys. Everybody joining us on AYS, I appreciate it. We were going to talk some basketball, but we really didn't get into it. Funny how a football guy always talks about football. But we will see you back Monday. Bachelor Blake will return. Hopefully, I stay alive without my wife. But until then, guys, we will see you soon. Y'all have a good day. Peace out.